Welcome back to part 3 of Life Behind the Scenes of a Psychotherapist. A little look into the life of me behind the scenes of my everyday life as a psychotherapist. I hope you've enjoyed parts 1 and 2, and here's a whole nother list of questions.
So what's the most clients you've ever seen in a day?
The most clients, if I remember correctly, I want to say it was 12. I do remember having a few 12-hour days where it was back to back to back and have worked really hard and a lot of people wanting and needing to get in. And so we had a 12-hour day more than once, several times my wife and I have had where we both were just working nonstop crazy. It's really not suggestible. I've had tons of 10-hour days. I know that for sure. But 12 is probably the most I've had in one day. That was where I'm starting at probably 9 a.m. and finishing at 10 or 11. Yeah.
So what advice would you give to people thinking about therapy?
If you're considering it, now that's a good question because people ask me all the time, or they don't call to find out, but never be afraid to call a therapist. And the first piece that I tell anybody in the real world is call up or email or message somehow a psychotherapist and just say, hey, can I get a few minutes on the phone just to tell you what my situation is, and then just see your take on whether I should come in or if I need help. I will give anybody a few minutes on the phone. It's not easy for me to give 15, 20, 30 minutes on the phone where people want to just talk nonstop about their life. And so therapists aren't really happy all the time about spending that long on the phone. But if anybody won't give you a few minutes, it's really not somebody you want to see. I'm not going to be somebody that says, no, I won't talk to you. You have to schedule an appointment to come in and see me. I will talk to you for a few minutes. If you have questions or concerns, or my child has this kind of thing going on, or I'm feeling really down and depressed or anxious and I'm not sure if I need therapy, a few minutes on the phone, you can get the feel for who the therapist is. You can feel whether you're confident or not, and the therapist can kind of tell you based on what you're telling me. I can't promise you, but this is probably what I'd recommend. And most of the time for me, I say, why don't you set up a one-time consult? Like, don't worry about anything past that. And just, it's like a good scan of your life. And you get to see whether or not therapy will help and what treatment plan that therapist will give. Unfortunately, a lot of people have to go to multiple therapists to be able to find the right one. You're not always, it's not like going to Kroger or Walmart or H-E-B where they all have the same bread. They're different, and doctors are different too. So you have to be able to find one that fits for you or your child or your teenager, and you have to be able to find one that you feel like gives you confidence in the treatment plan that's coming in. So never be afraid to call and check with a therapist, or even email and say, can you answer a couple questions for me? And don't stay with it if you're really uncomfortable or feel like it's not a good fit or the person's not paying attention to you. Because I know when I'm really busy, it's hard for me to get new people in. And I don't mean to be mean, and I'm a nice guy, but sometimes people are frustrated because they can't get in, but things get full. And mind you, the best therapists hang around the best therapists, and the best therapists do the best work. And so they're in demand typically, and it's gonna be harder to get in. And the other piece I would tell new people, clients looking for therapy, is be flexible. If you really need help, and if you have cancer and you want to go to the best medical facility in the country, you have to be able to kind of follow their rules of when they can see you and how they can see you. And it's not always as easy to say, well, I have insurance and I only want to pay $15 to come in, and I want to come in at 6 o'clock p.m. on a Tuesday. You can't dictate that as much when you're seeing somebody that's really good, but be flexible and they will help you. So seek treatment first. Don't wait until it gets too late. Therapy should not, this is my final piece on that, therapy should not be reparative. It should be preventative. It should help you not have problems in the future, not when everything's falling apart.
So is your home life different than other people's home life?
Yeah, as a therapist, sure. And as both of us being therapists, absolutely. Like, we really don't know hardly any couples that are both therapists in private practice. Most of the time one person is, but the other parent is not. So for us, life is very different. I mean, we are more feeling based. We have conversation. We try to check in with each other. We have family meetings. We have tradition things that we do, and yeah, it's different. An accountant probably talks more about numbers than home. A doctor probably talks more about science and medicine. An attorney probably debates and discusses topics more. We are more relational, so we communicate more. And yeah, it's probably different. I think it's fun, but it definitely is different because we believe in what we do, and we want to practice a healthy marriage, and we want to practice being healthy parents and having a good lifestyle at home.
So how much longer will you do this as a career?
As long as I can. Yeah, one of the things I love about my job, because I love what I do. I just love coming in. The people are challenging sometimes, and the cases are challenging, but I love being able to come into work every day and work with people, work with parents, work with couples, work with teenagers, all kinds of cool experiences. And I would really honestly like to just keep doing this forever. I probably won't do it as much forever. I could see myself working the way I am for the next 10 to 15 years and then scaling back and maybe not seeing as many people. Maybe I'll see 5 people a week when I get really old, if they want to see me. But I really think this is something, if you're good at and you have energy for, you can do for a long time. I know friends of mine that are therapists that are in their 70s and they're doing great and fine. So that's that. My dream would be to just keep doing this.
And the last thing is, can we get a tour of your office?
Absolutely. That's one of the things I want only my Patreon members to be able to see. Behind the scenes look at each office, what it means, what it does, what's in it. That way, when you think about therapy and you compare it to either what you've had before or what you're wanting to have, you can see for yourself. So you can definitely get a tour, and we will get that up, and all of you can go to patreon.com/Tom Stevens and see that tour.